Австралиийн Welcome.
Сайн байцгаана уу хүнд үзэгчдээ. Манай улсад гэр бүлийн бизнесийн тухай, гэр бүлийн бизнесийг сайхан авч явах, гэр бүл хамаатнуудын хоорондох харилцааг зохицуулах тухай их чухал сэдвийг хүндсэн. Энэ талаар судалгаа хийдэг Германы профессор, доктор Танзлер гэж хүн өнөөдөр орой манай нэвтрүүлэгт оролцож байна.
Jan-Klaus Tänzler Маннхеймийн их сургуулийн жижиг дунд бизнесийн судалгааны төвийн профессор Jan-Klaus Tänzler нь 1979 онд төрсөн. Тэрээр 2007 оноос хойш Маннхеймийн их сургуулийн профессороор ажиллаж байгаа. Танзлер нь 2008 онд Австралийн Вестерн их сургуульд урилгаар ажиллаж байснаас гадна Бизнесийн банкинд 2006-аас 2007 онд ажиллаж байсан. Тэрээр 2006-аас 2007 онд мөн Аахен их сургуульд судалгааны ажил хийж байсан. 2013 онд Маннхеймийн их сургуулийг, 2006 онд Аахен их сургуулийг тус төгссөн. Мөн Калифорнийн их сургууль болон Сингапурын үндэсний их сургуульд сурч байжээ.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please tell us about your purpose of this trip to Mongolia.
Well, I was invited by GIZ here for first of all for a keynote presentation about family business governance. It was during the corporate days, and this day I hold a workshop for a Mongolian for representatives of Mongolian family businesses about family business governance. And why it is so important for family businesses to have a good family business governance.
Mm-hmm. Usually in Mongolia we talk about good corporate governance. Mm-hmm. Then you are coming with the topic good family governance. Is it because you have so many family governance in Germany? Please tell us about some statistics about family businesses, small businesses in general framework of German businesses.
Yeah, it is said that family businesses are called the backbone of the German economy. And one of the reasons, because people are of the opinion, is that according to the definition you choose, up to 93% of all the businesses are family businesses. Mm. And it is necessary that you orient yourself towards the special needs and requirements of this kind of organizational forms.
So once institutions are, you said in your case, 90% in Germany owned by families, the strengthening of capacity of these institutions functioning is important. And you were telling also large companies like BMW is also a family-owned business. Please tell us about that.
Okay, to be honest, it depends on the definition you choose. Some experts are of the opinion that these large listed companies are not a family business anymore because there is no family culture inside the company anymore. But it depends on the definition. There are some experts who argue that BMW or, for example, Porsche are still a family business because the majority of the shares are in the hand of the family.
Family. So in Germany, family business can be listed, still having families running majority of shares, which gives them also a voting right, right?
Right.
So without voting right, if there are any other family businesses without voting right, but yet owned, may say 5% owned by a family, will it be called family business?
I wouldn't say that a family who owns only 5% of a company, I wouldn't call it a family business. But there are other experts who would argue it's not only the point of the power a family has, but it's only about the experience a family has and the culture. So if, for example, the family is still in the supervisory board, is still in the management, and there is a special family culture within the business, then many people or some experts argue this is still a family business. Also, only 5% are in the position of the family.
Our topic, family good governance. What will be the difference between family good governance and bad governance?
I would say there is no really bad governance. I mean, there is no governance or there is a governance, if you ask me.
Yes.
And a good governance for a family business, for example, deals with the unique problems of disorganization forms. And the requirements for family businesses are unique because there is no one family business, but there are a couple of different, family businesses are a heterogeneous group. And so you should think about the succession, for example. Yeah, a good governance should cover what to do in the case of a succession, for example. Or think about the payout policy. Yeah, do you want to recapitalize your earnings, or do you want to pay high dividends? Yeah, and a good family governance should think about these kind of aspects, and then it is a good governance. But I wouldn't say there is a bad governance. I would prefer to say a bad governance is no governance.
Welcome. What happens is in family businesses, say the senior member of the family, say a father who was running the business, but still the rest of the family feels that he should resign, and he yet doesn't want to resign. What would be the solution in that case?
In that case, it would be nice if you codify an age limit to the statutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the problem is that if you have not codified an age limit to the statutes, and there is the situation like you just mentioned it. Yeah, all the family members are of the opinion that the father, let's say the father, is not able anymore to run the company because he is sick, he is too old, call it whatever you like. Yeah, then there is the problem that you have to talk to your father about this problem, and then we talk about the situation to lose face. You know, and this is.
So you suggest the age limit is to be codified, or in company statute it be fixed.
Right, because then you have the situation, for example, you have an age limit of 65, and with the age, let's say, of 62, the father is becoming weaker and weaker. You could say, when he turns 65, oh, my dear father, you did a brilliant job. Unfortunately, our company will lose you. Yeah, and nobody will lose the face, you know, and this would be a great solution, in my opinion.
So we also talk about, I mean, in Mongolia, for example, initially friends, 2-3 families means. In particular nowadays, they were when younger, even not married, they made a company. Then later on they got married, separate families, interests different, wives different, opinions, I mean, of tastes, people. Then slowly it may grow if their families become into the business. It's not necessarily their husbands, they find each other, you know, very cooperative. What is the best way to make sure that this sort of problem, first, is not appearing? Second, if it is there, how to solve?
We speak now about succession, or what about family governance?
In general, in the management. I am talking about the management and stakeholders. What the difference and how to make a difference so that a family member of one family not coming and intervening into management.
First of all, I would try to make a plan, a succession plan, or a plan who is able to be the next manager or manager of a company. So you should keep in mind that you should codify a succession plan to your statutes, so that you are able to decide according to the statutes who will be able to be manager of the company. Just in case somebody from another family of the three, you name it, will be manager. But there could be also the case that, let's say, non-actively working shareholders want to talk about a strategy, for example. Then I would codify in advance what are the rights of the shareholders in a shareholders meeting, or when it comes to strategy at the end. Yeah. So you have to make a plan, a statute. What are the rights of the shareholders? And then I think you at the end of the day you don't have, I wouldn't say any problems, but not so many problems like you would have if you want to do it.
Say many families owns, 5 families owns. Then one family is running. One person is running the company, CEO. Mostly he's responsible for every day. Then on the board, how to make sure that this person is also really reporting his daily work. I mean, annually report to the board and receives okay or not okay, and everybody knows his payment, because this case also he has a cost. And how to make sure that this cost is not different if they were not family member.
Okay, so this is a responsibility of the supervisory board or the board of directors, if you want to name it so, yeah? And at the end of the day, the members of the supervisory board or board of directors, they are chosen from the shareholders. So if the shareholders, so the family members, are of the opinion that the board of directors are not good enough, or if they, if they as a supervisor not good enough for the CEO, they can change the supervisory board, and they can choose people, who are better qualified or who have more. Let's say
so shareholders is here, then they nominate supervisory board, which is also can be called board of directors, and inside not necessarily owners, but also independent professionals, who will control the executive director, who can be one of the stakeholder too in a family business.
It could be, but I think it will be difficult if the shareholders for themselves control the CEO. I would rather prefer that the board of directors are responsible to supervise the CEO for the daily life.
Even he is a shareholder.
Even if he's a shareholder, of course, because this is part of a good governance,
So shareholders directly do not approach the CEO, but supervisory board does.
I would rather prefer this variant.
Say nowadays in the country, say many siblings, they say even 3 family siblings create the company, then siblings have own children. Now their children want things that this is a part of their, or how they are the owners of the certain shares of the company. How to make sure that it is very clear that, I mean, on one hand, it is not, you cannot say that they are not owner because they are the direct spring off of the shareholder. How to make sure that it doesn't happen?
That they don't talk about strategy, you mean? So that they are just shareholders, if I would say? Yeah,
well, no, but in our cases, the people are behaving and coming or demanding executive management, you know, as a shareholder. I'm shareholder, you know.
Okay.
And intervention of their life.
Okay, this is also part of a good family and corporate governance, to make sure what are the rights of every shareholder, and how they should behave, you know. And it's, in my opinion, it's necessary to keep the shareholders, even the non-actively shareholders, informed, and not once a year, but let's say every month. Tell them about a strategy, about the products, about, for example, the internationalization process, so that they have the feeling I am informed, even if I'm, let's say, not living in the hometown of our company. And at the end of the day, if they then try to influence the CEO anymore, then you have to have to deal with this problem, for example, in the shareholders meeting, and to try to solve this problem.
At which point of time, or at which point of level or disputes or profits, the family-owned company, in the family-owned company, they must make decisions to have professional management?
Do you mean when it is the right time to have
Yes.
an extra?
If there's a particular conditions, tipping point,
Yeah.
where the company must have not family members, stakeholders as a management or management team.
I wouldn't say that there is a special or a certain period or time for a company, because every company and every situation is unique. But what you can say in general is, the bigger the company is, the higher or the bigger is the chance that only somebody from external is able to run the company. Because when the company is very, very big, it's a big challenge for everybody to run such a company. So it could be the case that there is nobody from the family who is qualified enough to run this company. And in these cases, I would say it is the time to look for an external manager who is able, who is qualified to run such a diversified, for example, company.
Can you share with us a particular case in Germany where that point happened in a particular company?
I don't know a special case, to be honest, but I know, for example, the family-owned business Haniel, and they codified in the statutes that no member of the family is allowed to run the company. And they did it because they thought it would be better for the company, if this is codified to the statutes, so nobody has the possibility to work for the company. But it wasn't the case because it was a weak performance one day of the company, or they were struggling. It was just that they thought it would be the right strategy.
So then with this company has a good time, bad time, profit or loss. So in both cases, it's better to be very clear from the beginning which percentage will be recapitalized of the income, our revenue, profit, and how many percent is to be as dividend.
Right.
What is the line on that? How does it work?
I will answer with an example. Just imagine you would have a family business, and sometimes you have dividends, let's say 70% of the earnings, sometimes 30% of the earnings, and now the performance is weaker. So you are not able anymore to pay this percentage of the earnings to your shareholders. This is one example. But the other one would be, for example, you have a big family, and you have, let's say, 25 shareholders. And some of the shareholders, they have a high standard of living. So they would like to live the luxury life, have a boat in Saint-Tropez, a helicopter, a big house, and so on. So they really need the dividends. And then there is a trade-off between high dividends and recapitalization. And if you have codified to the statutes, we only pay out 30% of our earnings, so nobody is allowed to change from year to year the dividends, because it's more difficult to change the statutes compared to change the payout policy. Normally you need 100% of the voting rights to change the statutes, but only 2/3, for example, to change, for example, the payout policy.
Well, that's much better to put into the statute.
Right.
Another thing, what happens if one shareholder exit, or by many reasons, maybe natural reasons, etc., and then should the statute specify who will inherit that shares, or that share first offered to others? How does it work?
This is a fantastic comment, if I might say so, because normally a family would like to keep the family business within the family. So the question who is able to inherit shares is a very, very not only difficult question, but a question which should have been solved in advance. And there are certain or many possible solutions. For example, some family businesses are of the opinion that it's the best way that these shares should be offered to the family members. And
of that person who left.
Right. And if there are different families, then afterwards they could be offered to other family members outside the...
Say family members, when we say who is legally registered as a family member, who is living with him now, or is it previous wife, or how all this regulated? If it particular says that it will go to his son, how about it is steps on it?
This is a brilliant question as well, if I might say so, because this is a critical question in Germany, and normally it is the best way to codify this to the statutes, and precisely, because as you mentioned it, there are nowadays so many different relationships within a family that it is not very clear who will be able to inherit the shares. But one thing is you can codify this in advance, but to be honest, there are also cases in Germany where a judge has to judge, or where you go to the court, and sue somebody because there are different opinions about that.
How about friends? I was told in European countries nowadays in this culture, usually the trend is don't get partnership with friend, don't get hired your friend on the board. Comment us.
Well, it really depends. If you ask me, then I would say, from my personal view, I would recommend, not to have a friend, for example, on a supervisory board, because on the one hand, you can ask a friend anyway. If you have a question concerning your company, the first way is to go to your friend. But the problem is, if you hire a friend, for example, for a member or as a member of a supervisory board, then it could happen, that the friend tells you what you want to hear. For example, you are the patriarch, the founder of the company, and now you retired, and your daughter is the new CEO, and you ask a friend as a member of the supervisory board, what do you think about my daughter? And probably he would say, well, I know your daughter since she was 5 years and so on. I really think she is doing a good job. Somebody from an external view would say, oh, I'm sorry to say this, but I think she is not qualified enough, if you know what I mean,
So this is a good recommendation, not to have your friend at least on supervisory board. Say these companies, they want to split. They don't like, by some reason, to continue. Now they want to divide the shares, and they want, say, if it is not public company, they have to give the share to each other, right, according to their statute, let's say, if there is such a case. Then who will tell the value of the share? 5% you say you own. Now you want to sell to the others. So what is the value? Who will tell? Because it may be, the people may have different opinion on the value. Please tell us in case of family business.
These are all very, very critical questions, if I might say so. And the resale value of a share can be codified in advance. But to be honest, this is also sometimes a question which can be only solved for the court or for lawyers and for judges, because the problem is that you can try to codify the resale value of your shares, but normally the price is much lower under the, let's say, normal value of such a share. the reason is obvious. Yeah, you don't want somebody to sell the shares. Yeah, and it's not good for the company if the money goes out of the company. Yeah. So sometimes if the resale value of these shares are codified in advance, then there is a big discussion within the family if really somebody wants to sell the shares. But there are also possible solutions. For example, if you codified to the statutes that you are able to sell the shares, but you get the money within a certain period. For example, 20% within the first year, 20% within the second year, and so on. So this is not that bad for a company.
If there is any, obviously there is, I think, professional company who value a company, value a company in Germany.
If there are such companies?
Yes, if you have, what kind of companies you have in Germany who can independently revalue a particular private company?
I mean, there are the big techs and consultant companies like Deloitte or KPMG who did this kind of job, the banks as well. So there are a couple of institutions.
So they make some certain value of your share?
They value your company.
Yes, but then you divide into the shares you have, then that is the value of your share.
Oh, to be honest, I'm not an expert in this field.
This is more market value, I think.
Yeah.
So what you are saying basically, compared with what you said earlier, what the market value of the company not necessarily be the same, the value that among shareholders they will take into consideration.
Right. You wonder why it is the case? Well, I think on the one hand, the market value concentrates on the real value if the whole company would be sold. But when you want to sell only certain shares or a small package of shares, normally you wouldn't find somebody who buys this package, because normally if an investor would like to buy or wants to buy shares or part of a company, they want to have the majority voting rights. Yeah. When they are willingly to pay the full price. So normally, let's say the price for a certain package, for a small package, would be less compared to the whole company, and that is one of the reasons why there is a difference between the market value of an independent bank who tries to evaluate the market value and the price of a certain package of shares for if a shareholder would like to sell the package.
Welcome. So in Germany, when company have a certain percentage owned by private people, a family usually, then say 70% are floating freely on the market, then that value of market value of shares based on your price per share could be completely different, and these families will trade off with each other.
I mean, it depends. If the company is listed, it's obvious the price. But if it is still private, and you said 30% are family owned and 70% are free float, then of course there could be a difference between the price of the individual members and the family members. There could be a difference, yeah.
Please tell us about this SME infrastructure in Germany. You said SME is 90% almost your companies, 60% of employees, employers, right? Or 60% of people are employed by the SME in Germany. So the infrastructure, including, for example, advising this SME's family, who runs that office? Who advises those people?
Oh, we have several different institutions which are responsible for advisory. For example, the chambers of commerce, for example, or the chamber of handcrafts. They are, they offer advisory, especially for small and medium-sized companies. but there are also the big cities and every city, which has special advisory institutions, and there are some state-owned banks, which offer advisory services as well.
At for fee.
Yeah, and there are not only for fees, but also they do it because they state-owned banks, they have a special duty to do it, from the government, but there are also, of course, institutions which would like to have money for the advisory.
You said Chamber of Commerce and Chamber of Handcrafts.
Yeah.
Is it so? One is a Chamber of Traders, the other is a Chamber of Industrialists, right, or producers.
Yeah, it's like the first chamber deals with all the companies which are doing handcrafts, so which all the companies producing things like that, and all the other companies are let's say belonging to the Chamber of Commerce, and there is an obligation there to be member of such chambers, so you have to be a member.
You have been meeting some Mongolian companies.
Yeah.
What is your general impression about the issues we have now just talked, and how much you think relevant in this country, you think?
Well, today, as I told you, I hold a workshop about family governance, about corporate governance, and as far as I can say, many Mongolian companies are concerned with exactly the same problems like German companies. When it comes to succession, when it comes to payout policy, financing, and so on. And I think that the problems for these kind of companies, are not pretty much the same, but they go in the same direction, and especially for the big family businesses. So this is the reason why also for Mongolian companies, a good and individual created family business governance is necessary. And I would say that they are on track. I think that many, and I interviewed a couple of very famous family businesses today, and I'm pretty sure they're on the right way and they know their problems exactly.
Of course, within the context of Mongolia, when they need higher professionals, and this is a different culture, how much we have professionals, not owners, professional managers, financiers, etc. So yesterday also they have been complaining partially about the not enough deficit of such a people. Of course, what you have raised in the country, the issues, you have brought some knowledge. I think it will be very helpful for further profitability of family business in the country. And I think it is just the first page. There will be many other pages, and I would like to thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Hopefully we will meet again, and you will see from time to time how family business are run in a good way.
Thank you for having me here. And once again, thank you for GIZ for having me here as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.